volumes of him. I don't think he's the most natural thrower. Dan Mullen came on our show, and it's like we fell in love with him, and we didn't think he was very good at throwing the football, but we fell in love with him. But there was a moment on the Cowboy sideline that he threw a paper cup. He was on the sideline, a Gatorade cup, took a step through it, and it didn't go in the garbage. And he took a step, and he stopped. And he walked by, and he went back to the garbage, and he got the cup, and he put it in the garbage. And I came on the Monday, and I said, okay, that's a conscientious guy. Like, that's what quarterbacks have to do. Everything matters. And I thought, and people just said, this is the dumbest thing I've ever heard. And I said, we know he's not the best thrower, but he's A+ at the podium. And I want you to take me to rookie year, 4th round pick. He has a great game in Los Angeles in the preseason.
Preseason, yep.
And lit it up. And I mean, the world changed. Cowboy fans would not hear it. When was the buy-in for you? Was it at practice where you were like, boy, this dude is a leader. This is our guy.
You know, during that training camp, you know, Romo, he would take every couple of days off, and Dak was the quarterback. So normally with a rookie quarterback on defense, we're getting picks all day today. We're about to beat the offense up. And so a 2-minute drill late in practice, I'm like, I know the play. I know what's coming. It's a slant to Dez. I'm going to go get this. I break on it. I go to get it. He puts it on the back shoulder of Dez, perfectly thrown, no problem. And he had done that all practice. And it wasn't an issue. It was his first time really with the ones against an NFL defense. And he made it look easy. I mean, that's been him from the start, is how cool he is, how composed he is. And another thing is how he faces adversity. Anytime there's adversity, he says, bring it on. And that's why I know with the injury he has, he's coming back better than he was.
So last year was a trying year. Listen, Cowboys' offensive personnel is really good. They have to address the O-line next year. This year, they address the defense. But there was a point last year, Sean, where, and I think it's pretty well documented, I mean, Mike McCarthy had to fire the DC, that tells you, where there were times it looked like, I don't like to use the word quit, but there was just no juice defensively. It just wasn't there. Mike Nolan's scheme wasn't working with the players. As you well know, it's all about the buy-in. If players don't buy in, we see it in the NBA. The Knicks have bought into Tom Thibodeau.
Sure.
They're limited, but they bought into him. Was there a point last year where you just knew this scheme, this team is just not working? Players aren't buying in.
Well, I don't know if we didn't buy in, but we knew early that we weren't playing defense the right way. I mean, you look at some of the games and the rush yards we gave up. Some of the times our offense early was playing great. Dak was playing unbelievable, and we weren't able to support them. I'll say this, though. We did fight as the year went on, and defensively we slowly got better and better. Now, I think with Dan Quinn, kind of going back to a defense we've played, I think Dan, the type of motivator he is, the type of defense he calls, he's won a Super Bowl as a coordinator. He's almost won as a head coach. Just from what I've heard over there, the guys love him. So I think we'll get back to playing defense the right way. But there's no question. I think scheme-wise, we took a big jump in a different direction. I think we didn't have an offseason, and it showed early on. We struggled, but I know a lot of those guys are frustrated with what happened, especially some of our linebackers, and they're ready to make plays.
Well, being a Dallas Cowboy, now, again, that's your career, so you don't have a lot. I mean, Penn State was a kind of not great when you got there, better when you left. But to be a Cowboy, it's your only NFL life, so there's nothing to compare it to. Yeah. But you obviously played with guys who came from other organizations. I mean, just could you go to a grocery store? What was it like?
Oh, it's incredible. I mean, the tradition, walking in there and seeing the tradition that they have and the guys who've won Super Bowls. I mean, I used to get calls from Leroy Jordan when I was injured, trying to motivate me to come back. And so we saw it as an extreme responsibility to try to live up to what they did in the past. You know, I said, I wore that on my sleeve every day. When I came in this facility, I'm like, I get to be a Cowboy? Are you kidding me? In this facility, in this state, with the support that we can get. And even through all my injuries, what I loved was I got support from so many fans, no matter what I came back from, and teammates and from Mr. Jones. So to me, I probably would have been in the league a long time ago if I wasn't a Cowboy.
Yeah. Well, what was your relationship? What was, you probably had an agent. What was negotiating like with Jerry Jones?
Oh, everybody at some point negotiates with Jerry. You
Really?
know, you have agents, but the way they run it, it's a family business. I mean, they treat you like family. And so, yeah, I know this after my surgeries, or after, I did a bunch of injuries, but I had 3 years in a row where I had to have surgery. And after every surgery, when I knew I had to go in there, Mr. Jones called me, picked me up off the floor and said, hey, listen, you're going to come back from this. You're going to come back better. So the way he treated me, the way Steven, the whole family, I mean, they really run it like a family business, and to me, we all want to give back to them and try to win because of it.
Yeah. When you look at the Cowboys going forward, again, sometimes it's a salary cap league. You have to make choices. I thought this year, and I totally agreed with their perspective this year, they just went defense. They just said, we're going to go defense. I think next year they have to address the offensive line. How concerned are you? There are so many starts and so many years with that offensive line. We've added a game in the NFL. The NFC East tends to be a physical division. I just saw Ryan Kerrigan now. He's back in Philadelphia. Is it a legitimate concern to go, that O-line is old, and by week 12, I went and looked the other day, Sean, their last 6 games are all good pass rushes. Yeah. Is that a legitimate concern?
Well, I think one of the underrated stories from last year, obviously Dak went down, but we started the season without our 2 tackles, Ty Smith and Lyle Collins. And then at the end of the year, Zach Martin went down with a calf and was gone. So as much as we miss Dak, we miss those guys on the O-line. I think they're still great football players. I think they're going to come back and be all right. But we know when they go down, it changes the type of team we have. But I think when you get all 3 of those guys back, you get that Dak back, that offense is going to roll. The question really is, what can we do defensively? We have to play better defensively.
Yeah. It's quarterbacks are so. I saw a stat the other day where Dak made $107 million, like international soccer star money, and
we were killing him about it. We texting them, letting them know.
It's like, wow, those yogurt commercials really pay.
They pay well.
The quarterback's different in this league. If Russell Wilson complains, it's different than a safety complaining. If Aaron Rodgers complains or Deshaun Watson, different. I mean, they're $30 million a year guys. Did Dak and Jerry have a different relationship than Sean Lee and Jerry?
Well, I think Dak, what makes him special is that he leads from the front. He doesn't want a different relationship. He wants to be running with you. He wants to be lifting with you. I mean, that's why I think from day one, guys loved him so much, is because he's going around the locker room talking to everybody. The rookies that are in the back locker room, you'll find him back there talking to them. So for him, that never was an issue. And really for our team, that was never an issue. He was always part of the guys, part of us. And so when he did get paid, I mean, we celebrated, we love it, we were juiced because he deserves it, and he's worked for it.
The history of the Cowboys is Jerry's not afraid to, as he said once on our show, he never signs up for a bad time. Jerry loves to talk. He loves to be front and center. That's one of the things we love about him. They took some gambles on draft picks this year. Some guys that had, a little bit of luggage. And there's always been this sense, boy, Dallas, a lot of beautiful people. It's easy to get in trouble. That was the reputation 80s, 90s. I don't know it because I don't live in that world now. Is it if you're a young player and you come in and you like to have a good time and you're a little loose, and is it easy to get in trouble in Dallas, or do they keep their eye on you there?
Well, I think we know that the history's there. Everybody's watching it, and I've always said to young guys, we haven't done anything. Those guys are the ones that built this program. You have a responsibility to act the right way, to work every single day. You can't lean on that. And I think also some of the leaders in the locker room, they know that. They're not going to let certain things slide or things get past. That's when I talk about Dak, Zach Martin, talk about Leighton Vander Esch, Jalen Smith. I mean, those guys know what it takes to win, and they're not going to allow any of that to really get going.
I asked Ray Lewis this one time, one of the great linebackers of all time. I said, who's the toughest guy you ever faced? And he told me a story about, I think it was Willie Rofe, was an old Kansas City offensive lineman. He's like, it was like blocking a building. Go back to your career. You were a guy who would mix it up. You like collisions. And there's got to be 1 or 2 offensive linemen or fullbacks you dealt with, and you're not going to miss them at all. They were no fun to play. Who was literally fit? You're a big guy. Who was physically for you as a football player like, this is not going to be a great Sunday. I'm going to wake up Monday sore.
I mean, I'm going to go more with the running back. I mean, I'm going Adrian Peterson. I mean, the first time I played him and I experienced that jump cut he has, I was like, what am I doing here? I mean, I can't tackle this guy. And then later I play him and I tackle him and I'm running the sideline and I keep fixing my face mask. My face mask is bent from trying to hit him. So I have to go in the locker room at halftime, change my face mask. And I just knew with him, and he's still playing, he still looks unbelievable. But, I mean, he fights for every yard. He's explosive. He had so much speed. I mean, I just got such immense respect for him with what he's doing now and how he played, the speed, the athleticism, the toughness. I mean, I loved going against him because it pushed you to your best. But man, he was a game after him. I was in the ice tub all week.
Really?
No doubt. I mean, he brought it every single time.
Ice tub all week.
All week.
So you like those finesse backs who run out of bounds?
Oh no, not all the time too. Especially when they're some of those finesse backs, Darren Sproles.
That guy gets up.
Trying to guard him in space. I mean, and that's the one thing I look back in my career is just I admire so many of these guys, watching them, how they play, and being able to play against them was the best. It was the best.
So you wake up in the morning, you're out of the NFL.